Thank you very much for tuning in. I want to thank Community Access Media for this opportunity to address the people of Erie County. My name is Shawn Wroblewski. I'm running for County Executive. A lot of people are wondering who am I and what makes me qualified, and I'd like to take a few moments and answer this. First off, I was born in Monaca, PA, and my mother and father moved up here when I was 7 years old. We moved up here because of the fishing and the environment and the family atmosphere. It's something I fell in love with over the years, going to school here in Erie, and even as a volunteer fireman. I really enjoyed working with the people here in Erie County. When I turned 18, I joined the Army and went away for a little bit, came back because it's Erie and it's home. I've been a paramedic firefighter for the last since 1994, quite a while now. And I've really enjoyed my time working with Erie County residents. And I've had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with them, going back and forth in some of their best and worst situations. And when the pandemic hit, and I was seeing how the leadership was running everything, I thought that this could really be done a lot better. And as I started looking and talking to more people, they said, hey, you should run. And it was thrown around of different opportunities to run forward. And then finally, county executive came up. And that's where I could do the most impact for the people. One of the big things with this COVID-19 pandemic is it's a virus. It's not going to go away anytime soon. Even with the updates in virus protection and all the other inoculations and everything, it's going to stay. It's been here for a while. It's just like the flu. It's going to continue to be with us. And we need to keep Erie County as Erie County, not follow the national trends. The state locked us down very early, even though it wasn't here. It proved to not show up until after we started opening up the county again. We need to listen more to our local health officials rather than following the national trends on lockdowns. That's greatly affected our businesses. And we have some of the best hometown businesses in Erie County. And I hate seeing some of the good restaurants and wineries and everything else that we have to offer here in Erie County being lost because of financial burdens from this COVID-19 pandemic and all the lockdowns that we had. So that's what prompted me to run for county executive. I think we can do things a lot better as far as the pandemic response and how we can recover from it. My education background is in public health and homeland security. So I've got a very broad spectrum of different funding options and different recovery methods that I can offer to bring to Erie County to get us over this. So one of the biggest things is some of our businesses, even though we're open back up, they're going to close down, and that's unfortunate. We need to prevent this. We need to stop this here and now and actually keep our critical local businesses open and thriving. We need to help them develop a plan for the future and how we're going to recover from this pandemic and what's going to happen when we go back into lockdown if that is the worst case scenario. How are they going to survive and how are we going to overcome this? Not as an individual person, but as a community in a whole. One of the things I was always brought up, one person cannot lead. It takes everybody to lead. And that's why this election is so critical, that we get the right people in the right places at the right time to help Erie County survive. And what makes me the right person? Well, that's going to be up to the people of Erie County, the election process as a whole, to ask questions of your candidates, the important questions of how are we going to fund this? What are we going to do? What kind of plans do we have in place? And not just one candidate. The county executive does not control everything. We've got to look at the county council, the mayors, and the local municipality government too, and make sure they're all working in conjunction with each other to support Erie County. We have to make sure that we don't have any ulterior motives or hidden agendas that we're going to portray. And that I do not. I do not own any businesses in Erie County. I've worked in Erie County as a paramedic, as a firefighter. I managed a security company for a while, and even worked at one of the local universities. So in this, I say, please, if anything, get out and vote in the primaries and in the general election. One of the things I've been advised not to say by my handlers, if you want to say, was don't say just vote for whoever you feel is necessary, vote for me. I'm not going to say that. It's just important that you get out, you take the time to do the education, do the background, do the research, and vote for who you feel is going to be the most capable of leading Erie County into the future. I would like to be that individual. If I'm not, then Erie County has spoken. But I would like the opportunity to continue to help Erie County throughout the ages. I will always remain in emergency services where I've been, and that is one of the critical issues that I want to address if elected as county executive. The volunteer fire departments that we have in Erie County, all 31 of them are great, but they have reached the point that they need some help. Not tax-based help, but they need to be able to raise funds for themselves, and they need to be able to manage their money properly, and as well as having the people to answer the call. There are some departments that are critically low on staffing. This is something that we need to address, whether it be with government assistance of mutual aid, mutual agendas of agencies, whatever the case may be. We need to get everybody in the same room and start talking about what the emergency services system is here in Erie County. The other agenda that we need to work on as Erie County is which direction are we going to head? Are we going to head into tourism wholeheartedly, or are we going to explore manufacturing? Or are we going to have a combination of both? Erie County is a wonderful area. It is robust for fishing, hunting, and all other kinds of outdoor sports with all 4 seasons. We need to utilize that and capitalize on that, but it's also prime for manufacturing. It's something we can have the best of both worlds. Good jobs and a lot of fun on our days off. The future of Erie County right now is more important than ever before. With the political agendas that we have in Washington, D.C. and the state of Pennsylvania, we as Erie County are only a cog in the national wheel. It is up to us to show the rest of the nation that we can get along, work together, and achieve one goal as a community. It is more important now than ever before. The national stage has been set with all kinds of bad media and national events. We need to change that and show them that there is good in Erie County and there can be good in the rest of the United States. Once again, if anything, please research your candidates. You can find me at shawnforerie.com or my first name, Shawn Wroblewski @gmail.com. Please feel free to reach out to me, question me on any of the areas we look at getting into in the future, because there are literally thousands of different options for Erie County that need to be researched and pushed forward. Like I said, not one person can do it, but one person can make the change. It is up to you to vote. I thank you very much for your time. And again, reach out, research, and get out and vote. Thank you very much.
Hey, good morning, Brent. Thanks for being here. Can you tell the voters a little bit about yourself?
Morning, Dan. Thanks for having me. Thanks for coming. I'm Brent Davis, candidate for Erie County Executive. I'm a local business owner, have about 16, 17 years here in Erie County. I have a master's degree in economic development, and I'm an officer with over 20 years in the Army and the Navy. So I appreciate the opportunity, and I look forward to earning your vote for May 18th.
Well, that's a pretty amazing background that you have, Brent. Can you tell us, some of the experiences that you think throughout your life that would make you a great candidate for county executive?
Well, I think the candidate for Erie County Executive, for one, we need a person who understands the struggles of real people. I started my business from the ground up. I came home from Iraq in 2005. I attended Edinburgh University, and I built my company out of the bed of a $1,500 Chevy 1500. You know, and it's the pride, the hard work, and the dedication. You pair that with my master's degree in economic development, along with my experience in the military as both an enlisted and an officer of leading troops at a high level. I'm prepared to hit the ground running as the next Erie County Executive.
You know, Brent, as someone that's known you for about 5 years now, I continue to be impressed with your work ethic. And I guess what people probably that are watching this would like to know, what would be your top priorities if you are fortunate enough to become elected?
I appreciate that, Dan. That means a lot. So my top 3 priorities as Erie County Executive: 1, economic development, post-pandemic recovery. And how we do that is economic development through small business development and startups. We need to focus on the post-pandemic recovery as priority number 1. I'm the only candidate in the race with a background in economic development. I'm already working with dozens of county commissioners across Western PA, Eastern Ohio, and Southwestern New York to work to build a regional economy that benefits us all.
Well, one of the things that I've worked on the last 4 years, Brent, is economic development in this region, and bringing jobs and growth to this region obviously means a lot to me, and I know it does to you from talking to you. Can you tell us a little bit, maybe some thoughts on how to do that?
So, well, Dan, I mean, obviously you and I both know we've talked at length about the CRIZ, and I think that's important. Then I appreciate your work with trying to get Governor Wolf and the state legislature to approve Erie County having a CRIZ. We're the only large municipality or city area, major metropolitan area that doesn't have a CRIZ. And I think that is one mechanism of many that we can in place in order to help Erie County build the economy, the strong economy that it could be.
Thank you, Brent. I appreciate that. I guess one of the other things that I'd like to know is, as far as what you would do differently than the previous administration, and I know there's some differences there, philosophical, but tell us a little bit about what you think would be maybe a better path forward.
Well, I mean, I think when it comes down to, I mean, obviously we've talked about the number 1, the post-pandemic recovery. That needs to be number 1. And how we do that is through my second campaign platform, which is the no tax increase pledge. No taxes, no new fees. Like, our people have suffered enough already as it is. We have a plethora of social issues which affect Erie County currently. I think we need to focus on that post-pandemic recovery. I think we need to obviously treat businesses and Erie County voters and residents like adults. Our Erie County Health Department cannot be a stormtrooper force to go out here and beat down business owners. When we have business owners operating on 25% of their revenue, yet 100% of their bills, no household can sustain this. You have politicians that are out here regulating businesses and trying to squeeze more dollars or limit their revenue. And there's not a single politician that's instated these orders that has taken a pay cut during this pandemic. Politicians continue to get their paychecks and businesses suffer, and this can't stand. As the next Erie County Executive, I'm gonna draw a hard line on this. We can have a safe community with safe schools that are open and businesses that are operating at full force. We need common sense government, and I intend to bring that back to Erie County as the next Erie County Executive.
That's very encouraging, Brent, I have to say that. And one of the other things that I think a lot of people that might be watching this program today, you know, one of the things that I've worked on, and I look forward to working with you on, is just to keep the taxes low. You touched on that in your previous answer. I think that, you know, if we work together and do this carefully, we can at least attempt to grow our way out of this without any new taxes or fees. And one of the hot topics over the last year has been the community college. I think that one of the things that needs to happen with that is, you know, as this becomes established, we just need to make sure that it's not a burden on the local taxpayers. And I know you feel this, kind of the same about that. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your thoughts on that?
So as they all know, I was a staunch opponent to the creation of this Erie County College for one sole reason. And that's because we already have one. We have the NPRC. So the process has taken its due process, and now the Erie Community College is here. We've been told repeatedly by the Dahl-Kemper administration, the powers that be of Empower Erie, upon the creation of the Erie County Community College, that it would basically be able to function. We've heard Kathy Dahl-Kemper say on multiple occasions that they would rely on donations and grants. So I intend to hold these folks accountable. And as Senator Laughlin mentioned, this cannot be a burden on the tax base. I'm absolutely not anti-education. We need educational opportunities for jobs that exist at livable wages in order to raise folks out of poverty and help folks get a hand up in life. I firmly believe that there's ways of doing that. I think the community college is a thing of the past, and this pandemic has showed us that we don't need a brick and mortar college when 100% or 98% of our community has attended college virtually. And I understand that doesn't happen for all programs. However, there are innovative ways, and I think Erie County needs to quit looking at 1960. I think anybody who's lived here for any amount of time realizes that Erie lives its life in the past. We need a county executive that's going to look forward to the future. I think there's ways, educational opportunities, whether it be a revolving student loan fund, to provide a mechanism for employers to attract new workers through low interest rate loans that aren't crippling our students coming out of school, to attract new lifeblood, to reverse the brain drain. I think we need to invest in the Erie County VOTEC. I think we need to look at opportunities such as Tech After Dark and all the other programs that already exist that currently are not operating at capacity and are looking for students. So I think there's so many different ways that we can look at educational opportunities and we can apply them to make Erie a vibrant, strong economy that anyone wants to invest in. This is how we attract new investment, and that's just one way. I plan, and that leads me to my third campaign platform, that I intend to invest no Erie County taxpayer dollars in this Erie Community College. From the very beginning, we've been told that it can be done without a taxpayer investment. These folks are intending on using Erie County gaming revenue. It's an unsustainable revenue which could change at any minute. We all know with the pandemic that there wasn't as much money that came into the casino, so we're going to take a hit there. We do have some guarantees, but this isn't long-term revenue. So until we can figure out a way, which is long-term, when I mean that long-term and sustainable, it should be sustainable for 50 plus years. They have not yet been able to prove that, and I refuse as the next Erie County executive to put more taxes on the backs of hardworking people. It just won't stand. So I'm gonna stand up for the people as I always have, and we're gonna draw a hard line on that.
Well, thank you for that answer, Brent. And there's one thing that I'd also like to add to that, if you don't mind. We have an infrastructure bill coming from the federal government that's going to spend, a couple $1 trillion in this country. And there are unfilled seats in our apprentice programs around here that the unions run. So if anybody's watching that, keep tabs on that. There's plenty of spots available in those apprentice programs as well. We're getting close to the end of our time here, Brent. When I ran for Senate in 2016 as a small business owner, I had some pretty strong opinions on how we should do stuff, and I know that you do too. Is there any last things you'd like to add to that, as far as the business owner mentality coming into government?
So I think when it comes down to small business owners understand what it's like to bottom sign a paycheck. You'll hear folks talk about that they're small business owners, but you need to truly look into these backgrounds and see who has a full-time job operating on the backs of the government, operating off the backs of quasi-government entities or nonprofits. Small business owners, I know what it's like to stand and make my sole income off my own back, my own two hands. I understand what that's like to be a small business owner, to start up from nothing, to have to put your last nickel into something just to make a paycheck for your people at the end of the week when times are hard. I understand what that's like. I am the only true small business owner in the Erie County executive race. I'm the only one with a master's degree in economic development, and I'm the only one with a high-level military leadership as an Army officer. I look forward to pair all those things together, to hit the ground running, to collaborate, truly collaborate, not just in Erie County, but across the tri-state area. I'm already doing it, and I'm looking forward to hitting the ground running. So I'm asking for your vote in the Republican primary on May 18th. Vote for Brent Davis for Erie County Executive. Thanks for coming.
Well, thank you for that answer, Brent. I think the only thing that maybe we haven't covered is if people would like to help out with your campaign, they're going to need a way to get a hold of you. So if you could share your contact info now, that would probably be appropriate.
So for anyone that'd like to donate, you can visit brentondavis.vote. You can follow my page at Erie Working Man Brenton Davis on Facebook. And again, I humbly ask for your vote on May 18th in the Republican primary. Thanks for coming, Dan. I appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Lydia Lath, and I'm here today to interview one of our Erie County Executive candidates, Tyler Titus.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for agreeing to do this interview with me and have it be a little bit more casual as we kind of go back and forth. So I'm Tyler Titus. I currently serve as the Erie City School Board President, and I'm running for Erie County Executive.
Yeah, I'm really excited to do this. I think this will be a lot more our speed.
This is
to
our
do
speed,
a little
yes.
bit more conversational. So I guess where I wanted to start with this is kind of like take it way back to like, who are you personally, and kind of what did growing up look like, and what is kind of the childhood and life experiences you bring to this role?
Yeah, what a great question. So I grew up in a rural area, conservative area. I'm the oldest of 12 kids. Everybody looks at me, I'm like, no, for real, that's a true number. My mom and stepfather became foster parents when I was 16. And so I grew up, in the country, and my hands always in the dirt, and learned how to navigate a system in a space where I was told that I wasn't really supposed to be, and kind of figuring out who I was as a person, and then watching my family struggle to meet my siblings' needs as they navigated healing through a lot of complex traumas. And so my grandfather was the union president, my nana was a union teacher, and then just watching how they continued to always fight for our community, and my mom and my dad, who were foster parents, how they always gave whenever they could. It just instilled in me that, like, whatever you have, you push forward, because there's somebody out there who's going to need your voice, and to use your voice to make better change.
Wow, that's awesome. That's really powerful. And so you leave that childhood, and then what? So I know that you're a therapist, and kind of you bring that perspective too. What pushed you then to choose to run for county executive?
Yeah, so when I was, I remember this conversation very, it's like instilled in my memory. When I think I was 19 years old, my 5-year-old brother at the time, watching him just like jump through and not being able to get access to the services he needed, I promised him, I'm like, I'm gonna fix this. Like, I'm gonna do whatever I can to fix this. So I went on to get my degree, all based around, marriage and family studies. I went on to get my doctorate in social work. Worked for the county for 8 years, just learning the systems from the bottom up. I started as an intern, worked my way up to being an administrator of one of the departments, started my own small business, all wrapped around healing and elevating the voices who often are pushed aside. And so when I saw the county executive spot, and that Kathy Dahlkemper wasn't running again, and the service that I had had on the school board, I knew it was now. The time was right now, and that we are in a space of healing and of need in our county. And my lived experience, my professional experience, my training is right where, like, it's like all the stars aligned, and this is the moment. This is the moment I had to step up.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned your career. Is there anything else specifically about your career that has positioned you to be the best candidate for Erie County Executive?
So I always talk about the stories of where I was raised in a union family, and now I'm raising a union family. And so, my time at being part of different unions here in the county, and working, just and advocating for workers' rights, and then being on the other side, and then having to negotiate contracts with unions, being on the school board as we're going through this huge financial crisis, and trying to get students safely and teachers safely back in the buildings. All this lived experience has coalesced to make me the candidate who has been in the houses of the families as they're struggling and they're trying to heal. And so this puts me in a spot, and with my leadership, the ability to connect and understand what's going on, not just in the city, but in the rural parts of our county, to bring us all together and to build and to make a county that is inclusive of everybody, that all the voices get brought to the table, everybody is heard, and the diversity of this county, it's mind-blowing when you sit and you just look at it, right? We've got so many magnificent minds and lived experiences that don't always get opportunity to reach their best selves. And so knowing how to empower and create that upward mobility makes me the candidate, because this is the space and the time that we're in right now.
Yeah, thank you. So I know being on different forums together, we've been asked a lot about how do you encourage young people or just people in general to stay in Erie County. We see a lot of people leaving, but you clearly have chosen to stay and build a family here in Erie County. So, why stay, and how are you going to maybe leverage that to encourage other people to stay or come back?
Yeah. Oftentimes I hear this saying of, young people are the leaders of the future. And I don't believe that. I think young people are the leaders of now. And so often their voices are overlooked. And what they bring to the table, if we look at any movement that's ever happened, any big change movement across our nation, in the nation's history, we see young people at the forefront of it. Mm-hmm. And I want Erie County to be that space where young people don't feel they have to escape from, but that they can come here, that they can build up, they can build a future for themselves, that they can build a future for their families if they want to have a family here, that they can invest, they can buy a house, the barriers are broken down so that they have equity of their own here. And so that is my goal, is to get those innovative solutions to make the infrastructure so we're literally connected with broadband across the county, so we can gain access, and you can run your own small business from your home if you want to, from a mobile office if you want to, that you can go to online school, get to the trade schools that you want. I'm a big proponent for the community college, especially having it be downtown, so people who have access or who need access can get there, even if they have to walk. And so I think that when we look to where we are right now, we're in a pivotal moment of our county's history. We have a lot of federal aid coming in. We can literally wrong the rights of our past right now. We can change the trajectory of our county if we don't have a knee-jerk reaction and we implement in a way that puts equity as the lens we view all things from. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's pivotal that and critical we do that as we move this forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I love that you brought that up. And that was another question that I had that I've also been thinking about too, is Erie County is about to see millions of dollars come into our space, and people at the helm are going to have to decide where we spend money and what we prioritize. So, how would you prioritize that money? How do you make sure that it goes, like you said, equitably to the needs of the people?
So when we start to look at, we've got phenomenal things already in play. We've spent literally millions of dollars as a county on plans and studies to understand what we need. We know what we need as a county. And when we look to how we would prioritize this, if you want a prosperous and successful economy, you've got to have a healthy community. And to have a healthy community, you have a healthcare system and an education system that puts people first, that understands the nuances of the different communities inside a community. It's led by leaders within those communities that have those same lived experiences, and they rebuild the trust that's been broken down. And so I think when we go to rebuild, we build up the same way we're seeing these community health models already being done at the Erie County Health Department. They're phenomenal, right? They're working. We need to keep reinvesting in that. And we see federal monies coming in for things for like broadband. So we need to make sure we're using the money that we're getting smart, and that we're not using it, and we're using it in a way that maximizes that money and also this other federal money that's going to come in for some infrastructure with broadband. So we've got to invest in healthcare that is able to be accessible to all people, regardless of what zip code you're in. We should not be able to determine your life expectancy based on what zip code you're in. We have to address that. And we have to have a quality education, regardless of what zip code you're in. We should not be able to drive a mile down the road and have two completely different scenarios. We've got to fix that. And there's ways that we can do that by building up community schools, by the blue zones that we're seeing working out in Corey. So there's a lot of things that we're already doing, and we've got to focus on elevating. We've got the models. Now let's expand them.
Yeah, how awesome. So kind of going back, what are 3 most important things that you want to fight for as a county executive? I think you've touched on them a little bit, but I want to give you some space to talk about those.
Yeah, so the 3 things that I want to fight for, number 1 is healthcare, equitable healthcare. We've got to have a change in our healthcare system. Not that we don't have entities who are doing phenomenal jobs, but how do we activate and elevate that even more? And I think that we start to see some of this come out with how we've re-engaged during the pandemic. With just like how we got people prepared to get the vaccine, how we've built that trust back up. We've got to utilize that community health model. Second is the education. Every child and every person in Erie County should have access to a quality education. That's like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. We have to make sure that happens. And then third, when we look to build that out, is the economy. Getting jobs, renewable energies, union jobs that fight for workers' rights, and making sure that we are building a community that's going to be here for our children, that we're taking care of our environment, that we're investing in this beautiful natural landscape that we have, and making sure that our children will also get to have the same, their children will also get to have the same beautiful landscape. And that will help also rebuild up the population too. If people have a safe space to live, they stay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So for a kind of change of pace, I know everyone's been wondering, where are some of your favorite places to hang out, eat food, get ice cream? That's my personal favorite. Where are some of
Yes.
your favorite spots?
Some of my favorite spots in the county, oh my gosh. So hands down, my favorite ice cream place is Denny's. Love Denny's, it's my favorite. I am a Denny's person. I also do love Whippy Dip, I share the love, but Denny's is my favorite ice cream spot. Favorite places to hang out, I'd have to say I love anywhere that has woods and trails. So anywhere I can get in the woods. So if I'm not on the campaign trail, I'm on a wood trail. It's my favorite space to be. I love Headwaters Park. I've recently tried to overcome my fear of snakes, and so we're doing a little bit more exploration. Only little snakes, we can get closer to them. So anywhere where I can be in the woods with my kids and just be with them is my favorite. And that there's no anywhere. And we're very blessed that we have a lot of options for that. In Erie County, we've got a lot of spaces we can just be. But thank you, yeah, that was a good question. But yeah. Denny's, now I want Denny's.
Okay, you gotta stand by it. You heard it here, folks, Denny's. All right, so then the last question is, what does Erie County deserve from its county executive?
Erie County deserves a candidate who is going to be representative of and engage the people that they represent. We deserve somebody who is transparent, who is going to fight, who brings passion, who brings the equity lens. We deserve somebody who brings that lived experience and knows the community and the county as a whole, and is going to put their ego aside and just fight, is going to fight to make sure that everybody has access to quality education, to quality healthcare, so that we can build an economy that people want to invest in, and we have homes that people want to stay in. That's what they deserve in an Erie County executive. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Dylanna, welcome. We appreciate you taking time out of your day today to be here with us and answer some questions for the folks in Erie County.
Yeah, happy to be here.
So first off, tell us about yourself.
Sure, happy to. So my name is Dylanna Grasinger, currently the Executive Director at the International Institute of Erie, which is over on 26th and Ash Parade. I originally hail from Northeast Ohio, but a little over 9 years ago, I moved to Erie and I've chose to call it home. So, I think that really brings a fresh perspective to what's going on in the county. I've been working to grow our population, increase diversity, and make true systemic change over that time. And I currently live with my husband, Greg, and our rescue dogs. So.
Nice, very nice.
Thank you.
Well, we're glad you're here. So tell us, why did you decide to run for Erie County Executive?
Yes, the question of the day, right? So I decided to run for county executive because I'm passionate about continuing to move Erie County forward. We have all felt the impact of the pandemic, and we know that it's tempered our growth. We need someone who's committed in investing in not only our small businesses and economy, but our human capital and social services. again, we need to keep moving forward.
Right.
As a leader with budget oversight experience, I bring that commitment and that leadership to the table. And in essence, I want to make the place that I call home the best that it can be.
Great, great. So what do you see your role as county executive to be?
Good question. So to me, this question is maybe multifaceted. There's a couple things that I view this as. I think that the county executive is going to set the tone and a vision for the county. It also serves as an advocate. You know, we want to make sure that Harrisburg is hearing us and listening to us and paying attention. It's also a role that needs to be a good steward of taxpayer dollars. We don't want to negatively impact those that are on fixed incomes. And we need to ensure that we're actively listening to residents, implementing inclusive policy, and really making sure that we're creating equitable access to systems.
Great, okay. So what experience do you bring to the table?
So I have over 20 years of budget oversight, leadership and managing staff, a strong understanding of funding streams and grants and compliance, and really the importance of working in growing public-private partnerships.
Great. So what do you see as some of the top priorities when you're county executive?
I think first we need to, really continue to move the county forward, focus on small businesses and that economic growth coming out of the pandemic. Continue to grow those public-private partnerships. I think that's really going to be, a key component. And again, making sure that we're inclusive, bringing voices to the table that are experts, that have that lived experience and understand the challenges that we may face. And I'll just close with saying we know that we have American Rescue Plan funds coming into the county, and although we have until 2024 to really spend that down, I think we need to make sure that we're investing in long-term strategic growth and family-sustaining jobs, and making sure that, again, Erie County is moving forward. So,
Great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for being here. We appreciate your time today.
No problem. Thanks.